Poseidon, the lord of the seas, is one of the most famous and revered Olympian gods. This god is also known by the name of Neptune, his Latin name in Rome. After the Titanomachy, the major battle between gods and titans, the world was shared between the three major Olympian gods. By lottery, Poseidon was given the domain of the seas, a domain that had been controlled by the ancient deities Nereus and Ocean. Although he had a seat on the Olympian Council of Gods, Poseidon preferred to live in his underwater palace. The god carried his trident at all times, a weapon that allowed him to generate earthquakes and create fountains and springs. His weapon was forged by the Cyclops during the war against the Titans and became one of the god's symbols. The god of the seas paraded on the water in his chariot, drawn by dazzling animals. Behind him, a large procession of marine creatures and minor deities. Albeit a sea deity, the powers of Poseidon extended beyond his domain. His was also the lord of the earthquakes, and the earth often trembled when the god experienced wrathful moments. Therefore, although they were far from the sea, the Greek cities in the interior were not safe from Poseidon's influence. They could endure his earthquakes, but also severe droughts. When a spring of water dried, the region interpreted it as a sign that they no longer were positively seen by Poseidon. The god of the seas was quite moody. Therefore, those who depended on the sea for their own livelihoods, such as sailors and fishermen, offered him plenty of things and sacrifices so that they could sail safely in his waters, ensuring a safe return back to their families. But such sacrifices did not mean that their wishes were attended. After all, when the god was furious, he made no distinction between those who were devoted to him and those who weren't. All those who dared to enter his domains while the god was experiencing a frivolous moment ran the risk of being swallowed by the sea. Zeus, noticing his brother's instability was an obstacle to the natural ordering of things, decided that he needed a wife. Poseidon then joined the Nereid Amphitrite, who would become the queen of the seas. Conquering his wife was not easy, but Poseidon had the priceless help of the dolphin Delphinus, who persuaded Amphitrite to marry his master. With his wife, Poseidon had his son and heir, Triton. Like Zeus, Poseidon also had several extramarital affairs, but, much to the luck of her bastard children and her lovers, Amphitrite, although jealous, was not as vindictive as Hera, the wife of Zeus. In addition to Triton, the god had several noteworthy sons. With Medusa, he had Pegasus, and the giant Chrysaor, and also the famous hero. The god also gave rise to a new breed of Cyclops, including the most famous Polyphemus, whose only eye was pierced by Odysseus. Due to that, the god persecuted the king of Ithaca and the hero of the Trojan War, preventing Odysseus from returning home after the war. Poseidon is also known for his rivalry with his niece, the goddess Athena. The conflicts between the god and goddess grew in size due to the dispute between Athena and Poseidon to decide who would be the god revered in the capital of the region of Attica. Athena was the winner, a decision made by the gods. The city became known by the name of Athens. In a different episode, Poseidon possessed Medusa inside the temple consecrated to Athena. The young woman was one of the temple priestesses and was punished for tarnishing the sacred ground. Medusa, once a beautiful young woman, was transformed into the creature we know today. Poseidon had a major role in the rebellion against Zeus, who, together with Apollo, imprisoned the great god. The coup failed, and both Poseidon and Apollo were punished. The two were forced to edify the grandiose walls of Troy, but due to the ingratitude shown by the king Laomedon of Troy, who refused to compensate him for his work, the god cultivated hatred for his offspring, and so the god favored the Greeks during the Trojan War. The Isthmian Games were held in Corinth, something similar to the Olympic Games, but dedicated to god Poseidon. Also in Corinth, there are reports of the existence of a huge bronze colossus which honored the lord of the seas. In this day and age, Poseidon may not be revered as he once was, but he is undeniably one of the most renowned gods in Greek mythology.